Molly, how in the world?
It was all in my bag.
You know exactly what that is, don't you? You know that bag is heavy.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize until I started going through all this stuff, and I thought, I'm not using this stuff right. I love paper.
We'll call the Clewiston City Commission meeting to order. It's Monday, January 26, 2025 at 5 p.m. If you would, please stand and join me. Pastor Greg REMI is going to come up and pray for us today, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we lift this meeting up to you this evening. We ask that you be with our mayor, our commissioners, all of our community leaders represented here tonight. Bring about the best possible outcome with wisdom and guidance for each item discussed tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, Madam Clerk, if you would do the roll call.
Commissioner Williams?
Here.
Commissioner Gardner?
Here.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Here.
Vice Mayor Heislow?
Here.
Mayor Pittman?
Here.
City Manager Williams?
Here.
And City Attorney,
Derek Rooney filling in for Kaylee Tuck today. Thank you.
we have a quorum.
All right. Any changes to the agenda?
Yes.
Yes,
oh,
I'm sorry. I'll go first, I guess. We're going to have a swearing in tonight, so I'll go ahead.
Okay, and I just have item 6 on the agenda, consent agenda. There was an oversight in section 2, so I handed out a new, this is the Tyler Technologies contract. Section 2 now will be authorizing staff to terminate the portion of Tyler Technologies contract for the building services. So that was already in the resolution and the title and the whereas, but just the section implementing it wasn't put in there, so just that changed that item.
Okay, so we'll cover that under that item. Okay. You're doing the swearing in when?
We can do it now.
Want to do that?
You ready?
Okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Well, our new chief.
You guys got me by surprise. I, Wilmer Tico Sagado,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
I will support and protect
I will support and protect
and defend
the
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of Florida,
Constitution of Florida,
and the Charter of the City of Clewiston
and the Charter of the City of Clewiston
against all enemies, domestic and foreign.
against all enemies, domestic and foreign.
In my honor,
In my honor,
I will never betray my integrity,
I will never betray my integrity,
my character,
or
my public trust.
I
will treat all individuals
I will treat all individuals
with dignity and respect,
with dignity and respect,
and I will prove my actions
and I will prove my actions
dedicated to ensure the City of Clewiston
dedicated to ensure the City of Clewiston
and its citizens are safe,
and the citizens are safe,
and I will encourage
and I will encourage
to hold myself and others
to hold myself and others
accountable for all actions.
accountable for all actions.
I will maintain
I will maintain
the highest ethical standards
the highest ethical
and
standards
uphold the values
and uphold the values
of the City of Clewiston
of the City of Clewiston
and the agency that I serve.
and the agency that I serve.
With this oath,
With this oath,
I faithfully accept the duties and responsibilities
I accept the duties and responsibility
of this position that I'm about to enter,
on this position that I'm about to enter
as Chief of Police
as Chief of Police
for the City of Clewiston.
for the City of
So
Clewiston.
help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congrats to you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, at this time, we'll have comments from the public on non-agenda items. I know, Yep.
She's prepared.
Let me get my notepad.
Get your transcriber out. Okay, before my 3 minutes starts, I want to give you a little handout because, you know, I always bring a handout and some little receipts to the meeting. But this is the subject that I'm going to be talking about tonight. And then on the second page is the ordinances and the directives that I'll be referencing. So, I think we've all lived in this community together for many years, and I don't recall having a coyote problem until recently. I understand that the directive changing animal control to an animal shelter and creating a trap, neuter, and release, otherwise known as TNR for cats, was put into place with good intentions. I'm here tonight to speak about the unintended consequences of that program and ask you to evaluate this directive by the outcomes instead of intention. As I'm sure you are all aware, there has been an epidemic of cats belonging to taxpayers and residents being slaughtered by coyotes, as well as cats that have come up missing since the city has allowed this directive to be implemented. We probably have all seen ring camera footage on social media that has documented cats being violently and humanely slaughtered by coyotes in their own yards over the past few months. I'm ashamed to say I didn't speak up at first because it wasn't happening in my neighborhood. I even justified that it was only occurring in neighborhoods that bordered cane fields or the lake, and that coyotes would never come into my neighborhood in the middle of town, and I was very, very wrong. When my cat, and the little star of the pictures I showed you, his name's Chonk Busen. He came up missing last week. I launched a search and subsequent investigation, and even the poor mayor was questioned by me. In the course, he's a neighbor, that's why. In the course of the investigation, I found that 6 cats on 2 streets within 2 blocks of my home were missing in the span of 3 to 4 weeks. I also found out that coyotes had been spotted on Royal Palm Avenue and in the Sugar Festival field next to our houses. I wish I'd have known that because this past Saturday, I would have not let Chonk out of the house after dark, because what I found was what was left of Chonk's body in a neighbor's yard on Saturday. He had met a violent and inhumane end to his very cherished life. Common sense would lead me to deduce that the TNR program and people feeding stray colonies of cats has created an abundant food source that has lured predatory animals like coyotes looking for an easy meal into all areas of town. These predators cannot differentiate between pets and strays, and taxpayers' pets have been collateral damage. While there have been much appreciated efforts to shoot and trap the coyotes, it hasn't resolved the root cause issue of the food source that is attracting them. I realize that people who don't agree with my stance will say that doing away with TNR is inhumane to strays, but I pose the following questions. Is it humane to release animals without a food source? If you believe it is, then why aren't we doing the same things with dogs? Also, is the death of pets and strays alike resulting from being attacked by predators more humane than euthanasia of strays? I know that if I were forced to choose the manner in which Chonk crossed the Rainbow Bridge, it wouldn't be from being eaten by a coyote. In closing, I'd like to state my appreciation for this commission's willingness to not only listen, but to also act upon the concerns I've brought to you in the past. You have worked together on some heavy lifts to ensure Clewiston is a safer community for children and residents alike. I have another request for you tonight. I'm requesting the favorable consideration of this commission to strongly uphold Chapter 14 of the city ordinances and authorize the city manager to revoke any prior TNR directives based on the reasoning I've previously stated. I would also like to, the commission to consider levying penalties against those who violate the city ordinance, including individuals or groups who feed stray cat colonies and groups that may be releasing TNR strays within the city limits. And I would like to thank you in advance for your thoughtful consideration. On the second page of the handout that I gave you, I just wanted to say that the top, I just got off the internet, that is our ordinance about cats. I do not see an ordinance on TNR. And the bottom is a Facebook post from Clewiston Animal Services that's saying that we're going to a TNR no-kill model. And because that's not backed up in ordinance, I just think there's a discrepancy there. And that's why I'm calling it a directive. And if I wanted to elaborate, it would be a bureaucratic directive. So thank you for your time. Do you have any questions?
No, I think it's something that we need to look into.
Yep.
Definitely need to line our ordinances up with what we're doing. So thank you for.
Certainly, thank you. Thank you for your time tonight.
Sad for your loss and for the other neighbors that also lost their cats.
Clewiston also does have a leash law for those that may not know. So protect your pets and bring them in, especially the cats at night. If you don't, I mean, if it's not a coyote, it could be a dog. It could be something else that gets your cat. So just be aware of that.
City Manager, are we still working with the trappers?
Yes.
I think even as we look at the TNR policy and, do we want to keep it in place, do we not? It's not as simple as one or the other. I think that it would still require both approaches.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Okay, Josh Carter's going to come up. He's representing the Henry County Fair Board Cook Shack. And as the commission knows, they've already asked us to fill in for one of the cook slots at the fair coming up.
Good afternoon. My name's Josh Carter. I'm a member of the Hendry County Fair and Livestock Association. First and foremost, thank you all for having me here today, and I hope everyone's doing well. As you all may know, we have the Hendry County Fair Fest approaching, and we hope everyone is prepared for another great year of festivities that we have been preparing for the last year. We're a small group of volunteers comprised of Miss Yvonne Swindle, Miss Lisa Kelly, Miss Brenda Holcomb, Miss Nikki Kelly, Miss Sandy Williams, Miss Sarah Sparks, Mr. Bill Self, and myself. We work tirelessly throughout the year to ensure we can bring the best fair that the state of Florida has to offer. We had a great year last year, and we plan on having an even better year this year. We couldn't make all this possible without the support of our community and the volunteers that also make this happen. The Hendry County Fair runs this year from Friday, February 6th until Sunday, February 15th. We have several nights of pageants where we will be crowning a new Junior Miss Hendry County, Little Miss Hendry County, and the coveted Miss Hendry County title. We also have the hog show, beef show, and the livestock sale this year as well. Our midway was a hit last year, so we had no choice but to bring back the same midway with even bigger and better rides and a multitude of shows for the whole family. We encourage everyone to come out and show your support for these kids as they have been working tirelessly for months to get ready for these pageants and livestock shows. Last year was my first year coordinating the Cook Shack, where you can get the best and juiciest hamburger in town, and that was an awesome experience, being able to work with like-minded volunteers to make it a great experience for everyone. We've added a few new items to the menu, so make sure you stop by and see us. I try and utilize businesses within the community as well as most schools, clubs, and organizations within the community to make the Cook Shack run flawlessly. Again, I would like to extend an invitation to the city commissioners as well as city employees to come out and help us in the Cook Shack and engage with the community one-on-one. You all showed up last year, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of people representing our small town. Lastly, I would like to thank all of our sponsors as well as the numerous volunteers that make my life a lot easier through this very busy event. We look forward to seeing everyone at the Hendry County Fair this year and hope everyone stops by the Cook Shack for one of the best hamburgers in town. If anyone has any questions, please go to our Facebook page at Hendry County Fair and Livestock Association for showtimes and updates. thank you again for having me, and hopefully all the commissioners and city employees will decide to come out and take part in this great night.
I believe I sent you guys an
And our
email.
cook
Yeah.
time
What-
is,
You did.
What's the
It's
date
going to
on
be Saturday, February 14th from 6 to 10.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, so
So
y'all
bring
come
your
out, I'll buy
sweetheart out
everybody
and
some
buy 'em a burger.
flowers and candies and all that good stuff, so. But no, we would appreciate y'all's help if y'all would come out. It's a great event. We have CTN that comes out every night, and they do all the cooking and all the preparing of the food, so pretty much y'all would kind of deliver the food to the citizens of Clewiston and other people that come to our fair, and be able to show your faces and talk to everybody. So it's a good night. It's a good time. We all have a good time. We try not to look at it as work. We just get out there and,
It is fun.
get in the community and see everybody. So,
But I'm glad that y'all changed the model, because when it originally started, the businesses that volunteered, we had to cook and serve, and
Right.
that was.
right. When I took it over last year, I wanted to kind of do away with that. That way the volunteers
boy.
could kind of spend their time up front with the people.
Okay.
So that's what we do. We have a lot of businesses here in town, clubs,
Yeah.
schools.
Some of us will be there more than one night. You said the 14th. Could you guys set up a schedule? I mean, like 2-hour schedules or windows or an hour?
Yep. Y'all
Like
can-
Francesca and Danny for the city staff and for the commissioners. I think that would be great.
Awesome. So, thank you all so much for having me, and I'll be in contact. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you need help with the coyotes, just give me a call.
You're on our lizards.
That's all right, I can do two.
Okay, next up is a discussion on Sagamore Avenue in front of the hospital. Laura Perry, Beatrice Acosta.
No, Mayor? Presentations?
Pardon me?
Presentations?
We have
Oh,
two.
I skipped right over those, didn't I?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
They thought they were gonna be able to leave. No.
Yeah, I scrolled too far, sorry. We do have two presentations this evening. The first one is on the city's frozen defined benefit plan. Gloria Rosen from Evershore Investments, and Paula and Jeff from The Standard, which used to be Securian, but they're now Standard. Y'all can approach the podium and.
Good evening to the mayor and commissioners and our manager. It's been a while since I've been here, but didn't have the opportunity to present what was happening with the defined benefit. For convenience of the newer, except with Jimmy and Ms. Gardner, the convenience of looking at what the plan is and how it started, I gave you a 2-page overview of it. And I don't think you want me to, if you want me to go over it, I'm happy to do it. But it's just that the plan started in 1989, and I discovered years later when I came into the city that in 1 month, the plan had lost $2,500,000, and I asked the city manager at the time, Wendell Johnson, and the city finance director, let's call up and find out what's going on. And Julio Rodriguez, who was once a commissioner, at one point asked principal, where have you been for 15 years? Because they never came and reported anything. So I used to come every quarter and report what's going on with the defined benefit. This is for people that are no longer employed. They are 22 people still employed that will go on this pension plan because they were here before 2012. And there are, I'm going to go over this with this sheet, the single sheet. There are 146 people that are involved in this plan. Nobody has been added since we started this in 2013, and there are 21 people now not yet retired. There are 63 employees that have been terminated, but they're not eligible yet to take the income. And then there are 62 people, former employees, retired and taking income at this time. So we have 146 employees, past and present, that were involved in this plan. Would you all look at this one sheet, please, if you would? This is this is the sheet that looks like this. And in 2013, we started with $8,800,000 in investments moved over to us from the principal. And through the years, the city has contributed $1,400,000. That's a total of $10 million in the plan. If you look down, you're going to see that they have paid out over almost $7 million in benefits in the red. $6,938,000 has been paid to employees, and we still have $16,510,000, and as of today, I think it's up to $557,000. So the plan is ahead by $13 million since we began it, and this is all from the one plan that is defined benefit. Any questions? No? Well, I have one other gentleman with me, which is from Minnesota. If you would give him a few minutes to speak, just regarding the investment portion of this. Is that all right?
Said he's happy to be here instead of Minnesota.
Yeah, there's not a negative number for the temperature. Trust me, it was real hard to get on a plane. So I'll just quickly, so Jeff Ruber, I'm the investment consultant. So I've been managing the plan since we took it over at Securian, now the Standard. I'm not going through the whole book, but what I wanted to just show the commission is if you will go to pages 8 and 9, please. And you'll just see an overview of your investment options. So the one thing to note here is there's no proprietary funds. So we don't have any of the standard funds that you're invested in. We're out hiring outside investment managers to manage the plan's assets. And then I am meeting quarterly with Gloria to kind of discuss the asset allocations. We've made some changes over the number of years. A few years ago, we moved some of the fixed income money on page 9 into an inflation option to just kind of protect the plan against the inflation that was occurring over the last number of years. And as Gloria highlighted earlier, we've been pretty successful managing the plan and growing it from that perspective. So behind tab 2 is your valuation report. I'm not going to go through that, but just as an FYI for the commission, the plan during the fiscal year made 9.71%, and then the previous year it made 16.92%. So we've had a pretty good run on the investment side. We will be looking to make some changes as we now have the actuarial report in hand to just rebalance the portfolio as we've done over a number of times, just to make sure that we keep the portfolio managing the way it has been, and from that perspective. The one thing to note is the city, because we've been doing a good job, did not have to make a contribution last year. Previously, a number of years, we've had to make contributions to the plans. So that's why we want to continue to rebalance to make sure that if we can avoid making a contribution, we all want to do that. So there's no required contribution to the plan this year. So that's some good news.
Yes,
So,
it is.
any questions on any of the investments or management of the plan?
I just have, is average rate of return? I know we have the fixed and then the international.
Yep. So if you go tab 2, and we'll go real easy. Page 4, and on the bottom of page 4, under G, you will see the return there. And just a reminder for the commission, your plan year ends as of September 30th of each year. So the plan actually officially starts on October 1st. So it's not a calendar year plan. So
9.71 through September 30th, 2025.
yep, from October 1st of 24 through September 30th of 25, we earned 9.71%. Our target is 6.5. So
Thank you.
What percentage would you have to maintain to not have to pay in? Is that the 6%?
6.5.
Okay.
6.5 is the target. Yes. So that's the long-term return assumptions. You know, we've had, as you know, we've been here before where we had some rough years, just given the Federal Reserve raising interest rates really quickly, and that caused a lot of collapse in the marketplace, and then we've had some nice returns here. So yeah, 6.5 is a long-term goal with on a 30-year average. But yes, if we could try to maintain and keep it above 6.5, then it keeps the contribution to 0. Yeah, mandatory. You can always put in money, but mandatory contribution. Sorry. Caveat that.
Thank you.
That's outstanding. Okay, anyone have any questions?
Anything else? All right. Always appreciate the warm weather and the hospitality, so thank you so much.
Safe travels home.
Yes. See you next time.
Stick around a little while. Okay. Next up is a presentation, Fire Department, presentation and life-saving awards. Kevin McCarthy, our new fire chief.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm going to do this a little backwards. I'm going to do the Life Savings Award first. I'm here tonight for a first for our department, so to present Life Saving Awards to 4 firemen. Over the course of my 38 years as a fireman, there have been numerous times that quick and direct action has saved lives. Your firemen have pulled children and adults from burning buildings, out of submerged vehicles, and rescued numerous so-called babies, dogs, cats, and birds, from burning structures and storm drains. We're always thankful that our actions make a difference. We've had 2 occurrences, and for y'all that know, CPR is a life-saving technique, but unfortunately the percentages are very low. It's only a 10% survival rate off of CPR if it's given in the field. So it's about 15 to 20 in the hospital. But on December 14th, we responded to an unconscious male. The ambulance was on another call transporting a patient to the hospital. While on scene, the patient stopped breathing and went into cardiac arrest. Robbie Hunton placed oxygen on the patient while Pedro Rango quickly started CPR. After less than a minute of CPR, the patient began breathing and regained a pulse. The patient was stable upon the arrival of EMS and was transported to the hospital. The second occurrence was on October 18th, and firemen responded to the dialysis center where a patient had gone into cardiac arrest. The dialysis center personnel were doing CPR on the patient. Greg Westbury and Zach Waddell and Robbie Hunton took over CPR and ended up shocking him twice with the AED. The patient resumed normal heart rhythms prior to the arrival of EMS and was transported to the hospital. I think that it is important to recognize our successes and strive for continuous improvement. And so, as the chief of the Clewiston Fire Department, it's my pleasure to award these firemen with the Life Saving Award. So, if you ought to come up. Just as a quick note, we thought we were ordering little ribbons that go on our uniform, but they're actually big metals. So, but we'll get it fixed next time. Anyway, thank you, Zach.
Congratulations.
Great job.
And can we have all of them here with you and Danny and have a picture here?
Up for a picture?
Let's see who can take a picture for us.
Chelsea's putting her hand up.
Okay.
Stand on my box.
In between the shoulders, in between the shoulders. Yeah, we're good, good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Next presentation is basically a cover of the operations of the department and then some information of needs for the department. And some of the commissioners have, I think all of you have received this in advance. I will try and move forward because it's a fairly lengthy presentation, but I think it's important. So today our station consists of 21 volunteer firefighters and 1 part-time chief. We are not, and this is not a knock on our police department. I'm very proud of our police department, but I would say we are not supplemental protection like the police department is to the sheriff's department. We are the only fire department for the city of Clewiston and the eastern side of Hendry County. Some basic statistics, and I'm not going to go through all of them. I just want to highlight some of the important ones. This is 2024 statistics. We will have an update on 2025 in the future, which we just finished. 45% of the 582 calls are outside of normal working hours. The average length of a call from the time we get paged to the time we clear the scene is 67 minutes. That does not get us back to the station, rehabbing the trucks, or getting back to most of the firemen's jobs. Since I'm semi-retired, I don't have to get back to anywhere. So we have average number of personnel responding, average number of personnel on scene, and important note, mutual aid given. We've done 25 calls outside of our service area, which you'll see on the next scene is 300 miles. And we have received 2 calls. So we've received mutual aid over the time that I've been on the department. We've received mutual aid in hazmat from Palm Beach County. We've done their bomb squad twice. I personally have been to Collier County, Charlotte County, Okeechobee County on wildfires. So there is a statewide mutual aid agreement. When somebody calls, you go for fire departments. Oh, one quick little note, we're the only boat on the lake. We have a little tiny sliver of the lake, but we are the only boat. So when there's a distressed fisherman out, or we've been out on the boat just in 2024 3 times, rescuing people on the boat, on the lake, and we've been out for boat fires. 300 square miles is our service territory, almost down to the reservation, and out down to 835 to the juice plant. This gives you an idea of number of calls per day, 24-hour day. Obviously, the peaks are in during the day. Number of personnel by time of call, how many we put on the thing, and we have managed to have a pretty good return, or a pretty good response without regard to time of day. This goes through major calls, minor calls. Some of them are rolled in, so you have vehicle accidents, by far the majority of what we do. And since the implement of cell phones and texting and single car rollovers are nonstop. But you get idea of medical assist, dispatch canceled. That's calls that once police department or sheriff's department arrived, we're not needed, so we get to turn around and come back. So, and then it just kind of goes through the rest of them. The minor calls, and the interesting one is you think it's a minor call, see a carbon monoxide alarm. It came in as an unresponsive patient, and they go in and the smell and the odor had dissipated, so nobody knew that it was a CO problem. It was just an unresponsive patient. But 8 firemen in the hospital. 1 was held overnight. So this covers kind of the minimum response when you go into a structure, 2 engines and a tanker. The 2 in and out, 2 in, 2 out. We are not allowed to go into a building with 2. It takes 2 firemen. You always have to have a backup, and you have to have 2 outside packed out so they can go act as a rescue team. So unless you have 4 that are packed out and ready to go, you don't go in a building. Vehicle accidents, it covers rescue, truck, engine, extrication, or fire. Total of 6 people that you need on those type of scenes. So it just kind of runs through where we're at and what you need. This is an example of responses in larger cities, full-time departments. You have 5 firemen per shift plus an officer or 2 officers, usually an engine and a rescue. In large cities, stations are strategically located, so they're within 5 to 7 minutes apart. And then on any type of structure fire or larger incidents, you have multiple stations. So you have 2 alarm, 3 alarm calls. Those are multiple stations coming there. So you'll get your 10 to 15 firemen by calling multiple stations. For us, and the next 2 ends, so we kind of cover that. In Clewiston, we are the only station. So our next station to call out is Montura, 25 minutes away. Typically 2 to 4 people, depending on time of day. That's all we're going to get out of Montura. And then after that, we have to call out Palm Beach County or LaBelle. So Fortunately, we've had enough personnel on staff that we've only received 2 mutual aid calls in 2024. So we don't do it a lot. We gave 25 mutual aid, we received 2. So we have to be self-sufficient for most everything we do due to distances and lack of personnel in other parts of the county. LaBelle now has their ladder truck. We'll be getting ours in 2027. So it will at least have the capability to handle some of the issues if we have them in the hotels. We have benefits that full-time departments don't have unless they're very large. We have expertise in propane, heavy equipment operators, electrician, HVAC, concrete and structural expertise, ag chemicals, hazmat, tactical rescue training, and access to private equipment. So we recently used a David's Carpentry and Concrete skid steer. The dump truck had dumped a lot of large rock on the highway. The highway is going to be shut down for at least 3 hours waiting on DOT to respond out of LaBelle. We got a skid steer, had it cleaned off and swept off, brushed off, and hosed off in less than an hour. So we had all of 27 blocked. During all of the hurricanes, Ridgeville will stage a large front-end loader, so we get to have the ability to use that to clear roads. So we get the roads cleared pretty quickly when we need to get somewhere. The issues that we have: attracting, training, compensating volunteers to avoid the very expensive option of a full-time department and protect the firemen and their families in the case of injury, disability, or death. And number 2, properly funding the department to provide vehicles and equipment for the firemen to safely do their job and adequately protect the community. So, as most departments have issues attracting firemen, we have been able to, although it's more and more difficult to attract firemen to come and volunteer. LaBelle has recently moved to a full-time fire department. They have volunteers, but they're down to, I think, 5 or 6 volunteers. And that gives you the demand zone. Urban, you're supposed to have 15 personnel be able to respond within 9 minutes, and suburban which is outside of our city limits, 10 personnel in 10 minutes. We are fortunate that we have not had to move to a full-time department. The benefit of local volunteers is we take pride in protecting the lives and property of our family, friends, neighbors, and community. The detriment is the emotional stress of doing CPR on your neighbor, seeing their property destroyed, or working the accident. Where someone you know is severely injured or doesn't survive. As Mike Irie says, we have and continue to see things that no one should have to see. They don't ever leave us. We just try and tuck them away and go to the next call. So we realize as volunteers it comes with an inherent risk. And as it has changed, we face various dangers, including burns, smoke inhalation, physical and mental trauma, and exposures to carcinogens and infectious diseases. The carcinogens has turned into the #1 killer of firemen with the advent of all the plastics. All the furniture is built out of plastics, and the upholstery and everything else. Firefighters now have a 9% higher risk of being diagnosed and a 14% higher risk of dying from cancer than the general population. Current compensation: firemen receive $25 per call, not per hour, per call, and $10 for Monday night training nights. That's an amount that hasn't changed for 25 years. I've been on the department 38, so the minimum wage at that time was $4.25 an hour. 2021, the commission added a pension plan for volunteer firemen that mimics to a lesser degree the FRS plan that the police currently receives. It's the same plan that LaBelle has had in place for over 20 years and is managed by the League of Cities. The commission also added a minimum AFLAC accident plan and cancer plan. We appreciate these benefits, but this still leaves the firemen and their families unprotected in the case of injury, disability, or death. And just to reference, so career firemen, state law, if you have one of a list of cancers, if you have hypertension, heart attack, it's considered a on-the-job injury. They'll be covered under worker comp, and they won't have any out-of-pocket expenses. For us, our worker comp covers the pay that the firemen receive, and you'll see that right there on the next one. So we have had firemen injured in the past, and they received the 2/3 of their fireman pay, not 2/3 of their working pay. So they were receiving $800 a month for their injury. So it doesn't quite pay the bills or cover your family's bills. According to NFPA, fire trucks over 15 years old should be placed in reserve status, and trucks over 25 years old should be replaced, period. Our frontline engines are 20 and 22 years old. We do have a new ladder truck, which will count as a pumper, coming in 2027. Our newest truck is 15 years old. Newest pumper is 15 years old. And then we go through the list of, you can see what's the rest of the engines go. The rest of the smaller trucks go. The term volunteer is defined by the Federal Labor Standards Act. And so it applies to someone who receives no compensation as paid expenses, reasonable benefits, or a nominal fee to perform the service. Just for information, volunteer firemen are all employees of the city of Clewiston. We go through the same background checks and background process as full-time employees. We have proposals and expectations. We want proper personnel, proper personal protective equipment to reduce the risk of injury, proper equipment that we can count on to operate correctly as they try to respond and protect the lives and property of their families, friends, neighbors, and community, proper compensation for the time, training, effort, and risk that is expected of the job, and proper protection for the families if they become injured, disabled, or worse. Within the current budget, this is not any change. This is something that we're proposing. You had raised the assessment this past year to hire 2 full-time Monday to Friday personnel. We're not looking to do that, but we would like you to redirect funds to compensate the volunteers. Note, Fire Marshal is currently a vendor of the city until April or May, when he will become a full-time employee with your approval, with half of his salary and benefits paid by the city of LaBelle through an interlocal agreement. He currently works as a vendor for us and LaBelle. That's not an increase to the budget at all. It's just a change in where he's at. He's currently full-time firefighter in Fort Myers, and he'll be retiring, and they're an FRS city, so there's limitations. He cannot work for that city. So we would actually be without a fire marshal, without a change, and this is a modification. So, but it does not change our budget at all. It just changes how he's paid. Fire Chief Administration Assistant I'm part-time, the fire marshal's part-time. She's doing a lot more work. Besides handling the other stuff that she has been handling without full-time employees, she's got additional work, so we're proposing a pay raise for her. We are proposing the firemen will change from $25 to $30. The county is already paying $30 for their firemen. Monday night meetings and training. Our meetings last minimum an hour and a half up to 3 hours. And so we have been paid $10 for that since I've been on the department for 38 years. Assistant Chief will receive a monthly stipend, $500 a month. All other officers receive a monthly stipend of $300 per month. And we'd like to create 2 new in-house training positions that would receive a stipend of $500 a month. And this will be offset by the training that we're currently paying Ricky Rescue to do. So they would set up the training program, certified instructors, and we would have that in-house capability instead of contracting out. And firemen completing their firefighter certification would receive a one-time stipend of $5,000. These firemen are expected to go through 300 plus hours of training online and in person, and then they spend a weekend at the fire college for live fire, 16 hours live fire. It doesn't cover at any type of rate if you start calculating what that would be, but it does give them something. Right now we expect them all to do all of that time and do it all on their own. This is 2026-27 budget. Again, this is something y'all are going to have to meet and talk about. It's next year's budget, not the current budget, but these are proposals, so you see it. Special detail change from 30 to 40. City provides short and long-term disability insurance, either through a group or individual policy that will provide all firefighters a benefit based on an income of $75,000 per year. If they're injured on this job, they should be able to survive off of what they're doing. City will also purchase a term life insurance policy of $200,000 for each fireman. Just so you know, that's about $200 a year. I'm too old, I don't qualify for disability, So just so you know, this is not a benefit for me that I'm talking about. This is a benefit for the firemen. Institutes an annual capital amount in the budget for fire truck purchases that will put us on a 20-year rotation for frontline apparatus purchases and other shorter life purchases. As I said before, we haven't purchased a pumper in 25 years. The one we have coming, we're not purchasing. We happen to have a legislative appropriation for, so we're fortunate that we have that. And then creates a reserve account to cover emergency events and future down payments for vehicles. So, because right now there's no money in our budget for any reserve. We have no reserve. This is a proposed budget, just so you see the column on the left, and we'll just go down to the bottom. Our current budget is $1.153 million. That is 50%, a little over 49% paid by the city, 51% paid by the county. So the proposed budget would raise our budget to 1.8 million, of which, if you look at the bottom 3 or 4 lines, that's over 350,000 of that increase is strictly in capital purchases for trucks and equipment. The next budget is LaBelle's budget. 2.9 million is their first year as a full-time department. If you end up with a full-time department, you will have all the capital that is proposed in the $1.8 million budget. You will be locked into NFPA standards, which we have not met in a long time, but we need to. We should have 2 sets of bunker gear for each of the firemen that were within the 10-year standard. The chemicals in bunker gear is rated for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, you're supposed to dispose of the bunker gear. My backup set of bunker gear was 2007, so it was out of date in 2017. So if we pull out of a structure fire, we're supposed to wash our gear, try and remove the carcinogens. We don't have backup gear that we can then enter a structure with because we have no protection. So there are a number of things in there. Everything that we bought on those trucks that are from 20 and 22 years old are just that old. The fans, the jaws, all the equipment. So there is a lot that we need to replace and get on a schedule. And this has been something that's been coming over the years. This is not Danny Williams. You can go back to Randy Martin. You can go back to Wendell Johnson. Like I said, we haven't bought a truck in 15 years. The commission often doesn't see those numbers because previous chief would submit a budget. That budget gets cut. You see the cut numbers. So cost comparison, proposed budget. Current budget 1.1, proposed 1.8. Taxpayers compared to LaBelle, currently saving 1.8 million annually. You'd still be saving $1 million a year as compared to going to a full-time department. Your portion of that is 552,000. It would go to 884. I list the Clewiston Police Department at 2.7, LaBelle's full-time combo at 2.9, so you get an idea. Public safety agencies cost about the same if you're going to have full-time agencies. City of Okeechobee currently spends, and that's just the city, $1 million. So current this year, they're spending almost double a few on fire departments, on their fire department, but they contract with the county. The county has a county department within the city of Okeechobee and a second fire department within the very small Greater Okeechobee area, and their third full-time department is out by the prison. So they have 3 departments, but they only have 1 city. So they're fortunate. Henry County is spread out, and there's 5 departments in the county. So cost of not properly protecting your volunteers or providing adequate equipment. Move to a full-time department? We hope not. It's an additional $1 million annually. Full department costs are almost identical, whether you respond to 1 call a day or 10 calls a day. We're currently averaging about 2. Sometimes it's 3. But you have less personnel to respond to emergencies, and additional resources are 30 minutes away. You have no capability to respond to simultaneous calls, which is part of the reason that our firemen are just coming off a call. That's one of the reasons that we end up providing mutual aid, is that we have personnel and we have 21 firemen, so we can put that additional personnel in other locations. You will have FRS retirement health insurance, total cost of full-time employees. You'll have all of the currently needed capital to meet NFPA standards, and you'll have less expertise and less availability for heavy equipment resources. And those firemen you hire will be here for 2 years, and they will go somewhere else where there's more money and more pay. I have some recommended motions. It's entirely up to you. But the motion to approve the changes with the current year's budget, authorized stipend position and compensation changes presented. It is not changing the budget, it's just changing line items in the budget. Second one is motion to approve the issuance of a purchase order for a new pumper, not to exceed $1 million, authorize city manager to sign all required lease purchase documents and down payments. It's in the approved year plan for 2028. It got moved by Randy Martin. I have the signed 10-year plan that's on that. It got moved, but it's 2 years to build a truck after you have the design. So if we wait till 2028, that truck's going to be 2030. So we don't have to pay for it yet, but we need authorization to issue a purchase order. And the third is you're going to need to know with the 2026 budget what that would do to your assessment. And so I would like you to authorize PFM Consulting to look at the assessments and what that would do, so you're prepared when you go into the budget workshops of what funding the department would look like. That's it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Any questions, anyone?
Well, I know, Kevin, when we talked and we went over this, you know, my recommendation was that you, the city manager, the finance director, the county administrator, and I don't know what Amy's title is, sit down and let's work on solutions. I mean, I know you've provided some here, and I told you I wasn't going to shoot from the hip, but there is no doubt that we appreciate the work of the volunteer fire department. I mean, tonight's awards just show the depth of the commitment to the community. And, you know, I looked at your calls, you know, the amount of response for each of those calls, you know, just shows the added depth of commitment. And so I know that over the years under the budget workshops, and we've talked about things, I mean, what we were presented, we approved. And it wasn't, you know, especially the two volunteer, you know, the two full-time fire department personnel, which, you know, at the end of the day, it changed. But there's no doubt in my mind that we appreciate the volunteer fire department and that we have made steps, you know, to make changes over the years to show that appreciation. Could there be more? Absolutely. But we need to get to the bottom of why the county has not funded the request from the city. And I think that that's a conversation that the city manager and you and the finance director and the county administrator and the fire, whatever Amy does is her responsibilities in overseeing the accountability of all the fire departments. I think we need to find out what's really going on there. If I remember, it was $274,000 that they have not paid us for the last year.
Randy?
I think it's about 125.
125 for 1 year.
But I think we have the answer to that. We don't need to meet again for them to tell us again why they didn't pay it.
Well, I mean, but I think we need to look at it, and I believe that our firemen responded, and we provided the information. Then I believe that the county should pay us those funds. I mean, you guys didn't go out there just for fun. Y'all went out there in calls to service.
But more importantly, moving forward, like, was it corrected? You know, moving into this budget cycle, do we have better numbers with the county?
Yes.
So that's why that was my suggestion, and I know that I would think that as soon if we can do something this week, I think that's important. Next week at the latest, but we need to, you know, go down here and I just on PFM Consulting Group, if I remember correctly, commissioners, we approved that at the budget workshop, that we said yes, we wanted to go back to get an updated assessment. If I'm not mistaken, we
And they
discussed
did
it.
that.
Yes.
And that's why we went to 171. But
Right,
now we have to do it again.
But we said we needed to do it again because Travis did tell us that those numbers were old numbers, and we had talked about it at the budget workshop that we needed to get it and that we had to have the funding for that to get it done. So we didn't know the estimate, and we were going to, I think, piggyback on what the county was doing. If I'm not mistaken, the county was also looking at updating their
I've been in this, I've been in this job 6 weeks, so I'm still playing, I'm playing catch up myself. I was not an officer, but I'm playing catch up on all the information.
Well, and then what happens when you come in?
Yep.
Is that you're looking at things with a fresh eye, even though you've been in the department 38 years, and you've brought us information, as far as bunker gear and some other things, that no, we don't want anybody taking calls and putting their life at risk, because they don't have the proper equipment. Now, I can tell that these guys are gonna respond anyway because of what we've seen in this report, but I know that there's some things that we can probably do in this budget year. Danny, I don't want to speak out of turn. You're the manager. You guys got to sit down and work this out. But it looks to me that if we funded 2 full-time fire positions and we're not going to do those, that there's funding available to do some of these things for the first step.
I don't have any problem with you using your budget the best way you see fit. And if that's not, 2 full-time firemen, I'm okay with that.
Make that a motion for this first motion then.
Will you back up?
Well, yes, because the first one is all within the budget. It does not ask you to do anything that's not within the current budget. And the expectation in our local agreement with the county, it states if we're going to exceed the budget, we have to do it with mutual agreement with the county. So if we are going to exceed the budget, you have to do that with a mutual agreement with the county. So my proposals in here would not exceed that budget because of the cost for the full-time firemen. So that's why I put that in that. The rest of it is not a commitment for anything expenditures that you're going to have going into next year's budget, other than if you've already approved the PFM consulting, then that would be.
We talked about it, and Travis told us it had to be done because it was so far outdated. And we all said yes at that time. So I don't know the process that we have to go through that needs to get done, but there might be a process. And the other thing is that, I'm in agreement with it, but I'd like with making the changes, but I don't know since it's the budget and we're going to make changes, I don't know what we have to do to make those changes other than us just make a motion tonight.
Yeah, so,
I'm in agreement, absolutely.
Yeah.
so your charter provides for a number of ways to address budgets, both in the creation of the budgets. This is a little bit early, but especially if you're going to be engaging PFM to do a study, you're going to need to have all those studies, the new methodologies, right? Because your fire is provided by special assessment. So you have to show an increased benefit for the additional costs. And so that's the analysis that probably Travis was talking about at the time, is these things linger behind because you're taking a snapshot of a budget years back, and then you're saying, we'll essentially divide that by the number of equivalent residential and commercial units, and that's your assessment. So the county's updated their assessments. I know because I did the updated interlocals with the city of LaBelle for their, and eventually we got to a point between the county and the city where they agreed to play catch up for the years that they hadn't been contributing, but they want budget certainty as well. So if they're going to match any provision of our budget, I can tell you just from dealing with Ms. Davis before and her budget staff, what they say is, you don't tell us, we're not addressing it. You're eating it all yourself. What I would say is, if you're going to make any motions on the budget, Danny's authority and the commission's authority within the interdepartmental is pretty clear. But anything that's going to put you in debt and to deficit spending, based on your charter, requires a much more certified analysis going through Randy and calculating all that. So I'd be leery of making snap budget changes, approving the programming, having it all built out, and then having that certification process. I think that's probably the better way to go. And then if there are other gaps in the budget that can be addressed through grievance procedures with the county because of mutual aid, the interlocals, the way that they're not paying, Glades County doesn't pay through the county, and I understand all those issues. So finding the gaps and then trying to get remediation from the county over a period of time is probably the way to do that and not burden yourself additionally. My guess is I think PFM finished their analysis last year for the county, so you'd just be essentially retaining them to do an update to match you. It wouldn't be a substantial expenditure, but you need to make sure that the request that the chief is putting forward, checks all those boxes, especially on the capital items, so that you can get the proper assessment going forward. Probably want to notch it up as high as you possibly can, so you just have that availability to borrow for capital expenditures in the future. And I may be covering stuff that you covered with Randy and the manager earlier. I'm just going kind of off the fly on that.
Well, I definitely know you need equipment, as I mentioned to you when we first met. But I'm a little disappointed to hear about your uniform. I mean, I was never told that I think that's totally uncalled for. That's, to me, is the most.
The bunker.
Yeah, the most important thing is safety, your equipment, what's on you. I mean, that we were never discussed on any of those issues, and that's, to me, is not good. So whatever we got to do for those items, I'm all for that. I mean, protecting these guys is number one.
I mean, we
But-
have the money there.
But that, to me, we need to sit down and go over, Randy, you and myself, but we do need to, I think, meet with Jennifer and kind of discuss
Can
the
you
future.
set that up like?
Oh, yeah,
like
I've missed the
tomorrow
last
as soon
two
as
meetings
possible?
with her, so
And
she's
let's
a
just
little.
get let's just get
Yeah.
the issues resolved.
Yeah,
Well, moving forward, we don't need Jennifer to spend the money in our current
No,
budget.
no,
No,
not at
no.
all, but we
Let me
got.
finish my sentence. So let's let Danny and Randy and Kevin get together in the
First.
next couple days.
Yep.
Put your line items together, and let's try to get at least the first motion done. We don't need a motion. You guys can, you have the authority.
that, the money's there, we just, that's fine.
And
We
then we've
just got to
already
clear
said
that
the
up.
PFM consulting group is a go, so you can proceed with that.
And the other stuff is stuff you wanted us to look at for the next budget.
Next budget
cycle.
year.
Yeah,
Yep.
Well, the next is the purchase of the pumper, and that, again, Randy and Danny and you can sit down and,
that's what I was saying. I think we
It'll
really
take
need to
2
look at
years.
your vehicles and really figure that one out.
What Derek said about PFM and the county just finished theirs, I mean, we need to look at that. I mean, we haven't seen, you haven't seen, there was no reason for them to provide that to us unless we asked for it, so.
No, well, the other issue, and I know this from, and I'm sure you've talked to the chief in LaBelle, part of the balance there was for the same reason that you guys are in a position to be able to do mutual aid. A lot of the county's responsiveness and the ability of them to fund it, put additional funds in, even above their assessment, which they did for the city of LaBelle, was because they can't staff their facilities. Their volunteer facilities can't be staffed. So, you know, a lot of the larger budget for the city of LaBelle is being paid for by the county. The county's front-loading that to get them up to speed because they're so much further behind in catch-up that if you don't talk to the county, you don't get that opportunity to help them fund your operations.
So the next step is you two are meeting and Randy tomorrow?
Yeah,
Hope?
one of the things I ran by Travis, like Montura and Moorhaven, you know, I've called a couple of commissioners and we were gonna meet, but, you know, we take those calls. I'd like to get paid, you know, we weren't getting paid. So that's some of the things that I didn't really care for, but I think would help us in our budget. You know, we could set up, I think Buckhead, Okeechobee gets 160,000, I think, and I think they've jacked it up. So I was looking at some of those interlocal agreements, and we weren't doing that. So that, to me, is where we're falling short on funding. And again, that's why the county was a little upset, because they were telling us, you know, Montura, it's not in your area. We're not going to pay you. But again, we're going to go, and that's what you do. But, you know, to say that they had a full-time fire department, but they never could show up, and all the stories I've heard from some of the firemen, you know, this one person shows up in a truck and then we have to go out, we get called. Fully agree, but we got to work something out that, because we are out there. I mean, I think it was 50-60% of your calls. And to me, that's a problem. I mean, granted, we got to, like I said, let's sit down and figure it out. I think we can, and that's where I think we can help ourselves, big time. Thanks. Good job.
Thank you,
Kevin.
Kevin.
all right.
And
Appreciate
again,
it.
just thank the guys for their hard work. I know I've told this story before. I did one night calls with them, and after the 5th time, I just turned off the radio and didn't go back out. It's a lot of dedication and hard work. Thank y'all.
Yeah, you know, just to give them some more kudos, our volunteer department, paid when called department, is the crown jewel of the fire departments in this county. They all look to us for the structure and how we've built our volunteer fire department. So you guys keep doing what you've been doing for the last 30, 40 years, because it's working. And it's saving the city a lot of money. So I really am disappointed that LaBelle can't build that volunteer department like we have, that they used to have. And you can see how much money it's costing them. So thank you for what you do, guys. Thank you for keep showing up, even to the dumpster fires in the middle of the night. Okay, any other comments on the fire presentation? If not, we will move on. Next is the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Almost skipped you again.
They've been waiting
Just cut you out.
They've been waiting. I got you early, now I'm trying to kick you out. Okay. Discussions with the Sagamore Avenue. Now, Laura Perry and Beatrice Acosta, you may approach the podium.
Good evening. My name is Beatrice Acosta. I know most of you, I think all of you.
Yeah.
I'm the Support Services Director at Hendry Regional Medical Center, and Laura Perry is our Rehabilitation Director. First and foremost, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it, and we're here to discuss a major concern, a public safety concern on Sagamore Avenue. As well, I don't know if all of you know, but we do have, and we have a aerial photo up here of all of our medical office buildings along Sagamore on the north and south. Forbes Family Care Center, we have our Pediatric Rehabilitation Center in B. We have ortho rehab, our specialty in D, cardiology in C, and it's a busy street. We see over 4,000 patients, and that's slightly 4,000 patients a month. We have been for years now getting concerns from patients, from employees, from community members of the road being unsafe. Vehicles drive through there 40, 45 miles per hour, and with no consideration of pedestrians crossing. We're continually, Laura and her staff and her patients, having to cross. We do have a crosswalk there, as you can see, right in the middle. However, you know, nothing stops them, and it is extremely dangerous. We just, in Building B, placed a pediatric rehabilitation center there, and we see a lot of kids. And as y'all can see, the roadway, the distance from the bumper of the cars is you're walking right into traffic. And at the speeds that these vehicles fly through there, I mean, it's just, it's terrible. It really is. And I know that, Laura, do you want to say something? I know you're there all the time. Your employees are constantly walking back and forth. She just told me that she almost got struck today crossing over. So, you know, we're just here to ask that our suggestion and our proposal is that we place speed bumps, strategically place them here on Sagamore Avenue. The yellow markers are the speed tables, speed bumps. And as you can see, coming off Gloria and also Olympia, we wanted to slow those vehicles down. And then, of course, right before the crosswalk, maybe 15, 20 feet to slow those vehicles down as well. I mean, I'm in hopes that this will slow vehicles down, and maybe deter these cars that are just passing through to take a different route. But you know, we ask that you consider the safety of our community members and allow us to put speed tables on Sagamore Avenue to mitigate a lot of these issues. And it is a very unsafe. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the road. I'm sure that many of y'all seek
don't go down that
services
road.
there.
Yeah, never been there.
And know how to,
I avoid the road.
and on noon, I mean, those parking spots are full. They are completely full. And like I said, especially on the west side, you know, right from your bumper, you're walking into traffic, and they continually speed.
Have you talked with the police about?
I have,
and what to do?
and I know that Kevin said from a standpoint of the fire department that it is okay to put speed tables there. And, you know, I know that a lot of our emergency vehicles, you know, they use Olympia Street. They don't use Sagamore Street. Our patients do, and our employees. And when we get calls all the time with concerns just crossing the street, you know, and not just that, God forbid something happen and somebody does get struck. You know, who's liable for that? We are? You are? The city? I mean, it's terrible. And we don't even want to cross that bridge. So we just want to be proactive, and we've placed signs, you know, please slow down, pedestrian crossing, that they miss it. They miss it. They don't see it. So hopefully with these speed tables,
Speed bumps once.
you know, and I know that y'all may look at it and say, "Oh my God, B, that's overkill." But no, it's not. Right when they turn those corners off of Glory and Olympia, it's like they put the pedal to the metal. And here again, you know, we can attest, we're witnesses, because we're constantly walking back and forth. And, you know, when you tell them to slow down, they look at you like you have four heads. Like, you know, what is so... I'm in hopes that, here again, the through traffic, having these speed bumps, that they will just go elsewhere. They will find another route to pass through.
You look at this, you got a parking issue, right? Remember, you want to address that, where you park in our grass.
We do, as a matter of fact.
Okay, here, listen, hear this out. What if are you buying CVS in regional? You don't want to say that yet? All right, but if you do, say you could create a walk path between those. That's going to give you more parking.
Yes.
I think you need to convert that parking if your customers are using the grass. Move your doctors or your workers, whomever, inside Sagamore. You gate Sagamore off. You know what I'm saying? You'll have gates where the workers, that's where you park, all along Sagamore Avenue. That's a ton of parking.
For the city to abandon Sagamore Avenue.
Yes.
You're saying, that's what I was going to ask. I mean, just if I'm.
I mean,
hearing
seriously, I
correctly.
mean,
Giving
because
you one street.
Ventura, at the back of the
I don't know
hospital.
about that. That's gonna hurt us
You
on
know,
our fire
if
response.
here in the near
you gonna hurt you
future-
there?
No,
Yeah,
I
but
understand.
let's start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Speed bumps will work, you're right. They will slow down.
You know, and I know
Giving
that,
them tickets, big tickets, put up the double fine signs, and let's start writing some tickets, and that'll slow them down too. Not you, but I'm looking.
no,
at you.
I get it. I know they're back there. I know they're back
know you
there.
would love to
Yes.
write
Exactly.
I mean, B, I'm so thankful that you guys have brought this up to us. I mean, I've parked there. I mean, always backing up, you always have to be careful.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
the fact that you guys are bringing this to our attention today, I think, you know, like Jimmy said, you know, Danny's already has some solutions for the future, and, you know, possible, and the chief's here, he's hearing the concerns, but I think all of us, you know, I know some communities have speed tables everywhere, you know,
No,
to slow
it-
traffic down in residential neighborhoods, because
Well,
people do go
and
fast.
Another solution might be, I can't remember the name of the street between CVS and the rehab, but that street could be abandoned before I would abandon Sagamore, maybe. We'd have to look at it, but maybe, and create parking there. But here's the bottom line. The
And we'll look
employees are
at it,
gonna have
but
to park and walk.
right now, and that is, yes.
Part of it.
You know, we have some future moves that we're planning and that are,
But as
show,
long as there's
that will
traffic on-
create more parking
As long as
for
there's
employees and
traffic on
also
Sagamore,
patients.
the speed tables is what the
The
solution
speed
is.
tables
Yeah.
is definitely, I think, gonna be our best bet right now. And, you know, we just,
And Danny, you don't think this, I know that I asked Kevin just before the meeting, the fire trucks shouldn't be a problem. You said the.
Our trucks don't.
You said the garbage trucks wouldn't be a problem either.
well, typically y'all use Olympia,
Yeah.
correct? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and from a fire department perspective, unless we're responding to one of their offices, we're not going to use Sagamore. We're come across Ventura and then wrap around Trinidad if we're going to the nursing home, or we're going to come down on the highway. So we're not a fan of typically speed tables or speed bumps because they're hard on fire trucks, and fire trucks don't accelerate or slow down quickly. So, but this one is not a street, but we still have to have access for calls, which we have had a number of them in different times at those facilities. So we still have access, but speed tables are fine from a fire department standpoint.
What about that street between CVS and the rehab?
I don't even know if that's really a name.
Well, I don't think there is. I don't
But
think it is.
does anybody really use it?
You park there?
Yeah, people come off the highway there.
Yeah, there's no parking spots there. It's
Lynn,
just a.
didn't we
road
come up
to
with a different,
travel.
Johnson Engineering changed it a little bit?
More to the,
Yeah.
and Dave could speak to this too, but as far as being compliant with the FDOT standards, like to do in
So you're saying there's a modification to this
Yeah.
to meet DOT standards?
Yeah, I'll let Dave did the markup, so I'll let him.
Dave Trudeau with Johnson. So I sent this over to our transportation folks and just asked them, hey, speed bumps, speed humps, speed tables, what is accepted now? I think you were kind of jumping back and forth between bumps and humps and tables, but so speed bumps no longer exists. They're bad for ambulances, they're bad for trucks. Speed tables are better, or speed humps. Basically, the flat area on top is the difference. It's just easier on vehicles as they go across. Another thing they said is having them too close to stop signs, they weren't a huge fan of. You're already stopping. Granted, if they're whipping around a corner and you hit a speed bump right away, that you may already be going slow, but, and this is all just a quick markup. So
Yeah, of course.
shifting these, adding one, adding two, that may be fine, but it seemed that the two on the ends were a little close to the intersection for their liking. But this is what we came up with, having the crosswalk on a speed table, so that would be
I
raised
feel
up.
like, isn't the damage done
That's
if
what
you
I was
hit
about to
a
say.
crosswalk?
So
Right,
they're gonna,
Yeah,
pedestrians are gonna stop those vehicles
right.
if
But-
we
but-
have it like that.
So if there's another one to the west side of it, that may slow them down, getting to that, so this is all,
Okay.
the
No,
idea
I-
is, I'm all about it, there's nothing wrong with this, but just the two near the stop signs were the biggest thing, so.
No, those work pretty good on Ventura.
Now,
There-
let me ask,
a lot
can
of
we
people
just
stop.
do a half speed table? So when they turn in off Gloria, because they accelerate right when they make that corner. Can we just put a half speed table on each side?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll check.
I can
but
I can
think
understand
people may whip around.
their safety concern, and I knew that, I don't know but to me, this defeats the purpose of
Absolutely.
slowing traffic down. I mean, I know what you're doing from a DOT standpoint, but it's not a DOT road.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so I just don't know where this, the final solution is in between, but I just think that one speed hump and a raised table isn't enough to slow because we've all
And
seen
there may
it.
be, another one to the west of that speed,
Now,
so it's coming off the intersection, you're already slowing.
But what about a stop sign,
There-
before the
there
crosswalk?
Now, having said that, I know
Or-
that it looks close, but that's about 15 to 20 feet away from that curve when you enter. I mean, it looks close because it's,
But Barbara, you're asking that instead of, there'd be a stop sign in the middle of the road versus,
Like, yeah, on this side of the, CVS building, you could put a stop sign there.
I like your idea of gating it off
we have
during
placed
business hours.
signs.
Just
We have placed signs, like I said, pedestrian crossing, signs they miss. They are not
But
gonna
if they roll
miss
through a stop sign,
rolling over
mean-
a speed bump. They, or speed table.
Yeah,
They're
I
on
guess-
speed
oh, yeah,
bumps,
yeah.
or not
So,
being able to
but-
drive down there at all without their hospital ID. I mean,
What's
well, they
What-
have them at, Walmart where pedestrian crossing, you stop.
man, that's Russian roulette. You better be careful walking out there.
Miss Edmonds, I'm telling you, they do not look at signs on this road. And maybe it's because too, the space constraints, that is a tight road.
Yes, it is.
And when it gets full quick. Our services has drastically increased. So by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, it's completely full out there.
Yeah.
And, signs are missed, is my point. They are
I think,
missed.
I think the speed humps will work for now.
Absolutely.
I say,
Yes, sir.
you get with the chief and Danny's crew, somebody, and y'all put up to 3, and let's see how it works. I think the flashing signs at the crosswalk, the big bright LEDs like you see where people cross the road, and
Mr. Pittman, you
the
said up to
chief,
4? I'm
3.
sorry? Okay.
And then let's get with the chief and he can help you place them, and then we'll go from there. And set a guy down there for a few mornings. When do they speed the most? Around noon time? Set a guy down there, let's write some tickets.
So where are you picturing?
I'm not gonna answer that.
That's right there.
Or,
I think with it being 2 blocks, if you're gonna do more than 2, you need 4.
4,
Like
yeah.
2 on
I
either
agree.
side.
and that's why, Mr. Pittman, I know 3's up.
Well, I agree with
Even
those
number
2 are
4.
too close to the turn. You've already slowed down for the turn,
So can we do,
so I'd take the 2 away at the turns and leave those other 3. Was there 3 on there?
No, because they come around that corner pretty
They
fast
come
when they
around
make
the
that
corner
left-hand turn.
fast,
I've
yes.
seen them.
I mean, maybe we can put them further in, get rid of the one right in front of, in the middle of Forbes.
Because you most certainly want one on either side of the
Absolutely.
crosswalk
Yes.
as you approach it.
Absolutely.
3.
Okay,
Okay, all right. We could be here all night looking at
yeah,
this.
we could, so.
But I think that
So let's-
Danny
yeah, put
has a
some in
pretty
and-
good idea, and you
Yep.
guys talk to Danny
We're gonna-
and we'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
appreciate
you,
your
guys.
time. Thank you.
Thank you for showing up tonight and sharing that with us.
Yes.
And
we appreciate you.
tell the board and your volunteers, you're gonna need a parking garage. Every other hospital
No.
had to put one in, and if we're gonna keep growing, which we will,
Well, we're actually looking at the retention pond over, on the south corner of the ER.
Right.
We're building
oh, good.
a parking lot there, so that's gonna help tremendously.
What about making that road a one-way with the speed tables? One direction on that road only.
And you have 2 cars running by, going fast by the- We're gonna drag race there.
You know what, and we're very appreciative. We're gonna start with the speed tables. We will, talk offline and then try to figure it out.
I would look at that road to the
Thank
north,
you.
between the CVS building, that road could probably be, I would gate that one off and grass it over, or make it a parking lot before I would gate, Sagamore. But anyway, just a thought.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you, guys. And now, The consent
All
agenda.
ordinances, and we're good. I say we'll approve all ordinances, we're good. Resolutions.
Okay, let me get back to
Don't worry, we're not far.
Yeah, we're on a roll now, we got it. Okay, consent agenda. I would like to pull number 5 and 6. I just have a couple of questions is all. And 7. I'll entertain a motion for the others.
So moved.
Motion by, was that you, Hoslow?
Yes, sir.
Second?
Okay, second by Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 5, I was reading in the support documents, we want to be closer to the federal holiday, is the reason we want to add 3 new days off. And our federal, we now have, that down. Federal holiday has 11 days off. The city now has 12. So are you sure you want to do federal holiday? Match up? And what are surrounding counties doing and cities like LaBelle?
For the county?
Free the employees.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, Derek.
Well,
They
here's
take
the
a lot of
thing.
days off.
Federal holidays
I'm trying to
don't give the Friday before Easter, they don't give the day after Thanksgiving, and they don't give Christmas Eve. And we give those 3 now. So do you want to pull those off and put these 3 on?
Did
Or-
we give Christmas Eve, or we gave a
Yeah.
half day, right?
No, we get Christmas Eve.
Christmas
And then
Eve.
we get a half day for the Christmas meal, which is okay, I guess.
Yeah.
We want to leave them on there. Don't want to change. I don't.
You mean, you want to leave the holidays as is?
Yes.
There's 12 federal holidays, you said, or 11?
11 is what I looked up online,
Yeah.
and we're at 12 now. If we add 3, that'll be 15. If we're going to give to our employees, which I'm all for, I would rather give you a raise and more benefits than another day off. But I don't know. I would like to hear from our benefits committee or directors when y'all meet. What do you guys think about it? Maybe you haven't discussed it yet at one of your meetings. So anyway, that's a thought. But when I read in there, you want to be more in line with the federal holidays, that's why I looked it up. And I said, oh, we're already better than them. Well, I killed this room.
No, it was some certain employees. Let me, we'll go back, we'll pull that one, and let me
Maybe
discuss.
see what some surrounding, I don't mind adding maybe one more, but my
Right.
goodness.
Well, I know that the county that I remember around New Year's and Christmas, I think the county was closed more than we were. They closed
Yeah.
earlier than we did,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. So maybe get a comparison what
Yeah.
the county and the city and the other cities do for holidays.
Right.
I believe that the city will match federal. I think there's one holiday I don't think they cover with the federal, and they also will look to the state. So I think the state has 9 that they observe, but, and this is pretty much, I believe, practice at the city of LaBelle. The governor will often grant additional days off to
He did
state
this past
workers.
year, yeah.
So he, in his
Do it every-
benevolence, can do that, and the city matches that. So I believe that the actual number of days off are often in excess of the federal holiday calendar.
And that might have been what the county did, and that's why they had extra 2-day holidays this past year.
Okay, so item 5, motion to table.
Yep.
So moved.
Motion by Hoslow,
Second.
second by Gardner. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I just had a few questions about item 6, changing from Tyler to Invoice Cloud. And, yeah, you can come up, because I'm sure you're going to have to answer them anyway. Lynn, thank you. I know we've had problems with some customers, because they've called me, and I'm sure they've called you, when their power went off.
sorry.
Break it, Lynn?
Are you having
Bro-
fun there,
Let me
Lynn?
have the mic.
Just getting ready.
Yeah.
Are you going
I'm
to say?
sorry.
So that they'll be able to pay online, where I know some people, I know you always have those people that wait till the last second. And then our system now with our automated meters cuts you off. Doesn't care who you are or where you are, or if you're a second late or 5 minutes late, it's gonna cut you off. And that's fine, I have no problem with that, but will this system allow people to go online and pay? And then will it talk to the shut-off part of the program and turn them back on?
So you kind of got to the nut of it. And it's true with our smart meters, this has come more to a head because there's no, I'm on my way to the office now, or can we wait? You know, can we make other arrangements? It's pretty much, you got to have your payment in by 8:30 the morning of, and then you get disconnected. We have the rest of the day for people to come in and make their payment. We can get them turned back on before the end of the business day, but
And do they
Yes.
have a charge then?
there's a $25 fee, yeah, that's included in it, yeah, to get reconnected. Just, I know Molly was asking about whether we were terminating our contract with Tyler, and first of all, that Tyler is still our computer information service. We're still paying $61,000, I think, a year for that. But in 2022, we decided to try to do some of the digital bill pay services for our customers so that they could pay, text to pay and other things. And we haven't really had the adoption that we were hoping for with Tyler. And at the same time, during this kind of experimental period, Tyler is good for what we use them for, but they're not really a bill payment service. That's kind of like an ancillary thing that they do. And we've had problems with, well, for one thing, they don't notify a customer if the payment's late or if they're about to get cut off. With Invoice Cloud, we can get notifications for free that'll go out in a text or an email that says, hey, your bill's about to be past due, your bill is past due, you're about to get cut off. So we think that's going to be a great service for our arrears and helping our customers. And actually, I don't know if Ryan Quinn is online right now, but he's our account representative for Invoice Cloud if y'all have any questions.
Sorry, how did we find out about Invoice Cloud?
So I think it was a cold call that came to me, and I had heard complaints from Monica, but I investigated. Oh, there they are.
Hey there.
We had a couple of this actually started back in October. We had a few phone calls. They gave me some references. There's a number of cities in Florida that use Invoice Cloud. They can probably speak to that, but I talked to 3 of their references, New Smyrna Beach, Ocala, and formerly St. Cloud. But some of them had been with Invoice Cloud for 10 years. They had good experiences. I just had a level of confidence that I have hopes that this is going to improve our digital bill payment service. And another thing that we talked about and negotiated quite a bit was that this would be budget neutral. So we can do this cut over to Invoice Cloud, and they can probably speak to that better than I can, but I think this is it. And the service that we have with Tyler now for the digital payment is just a year to year. So we give them 30 days notice, and it'll terminate our Tyler service, and we can go with Invoice Cloud.
Okay. So any questions for Jeremy or Ryan? Is this going to help our citizens pay their bill on time?
It is on time. The whole idea is making it easier and giving your residents more options to pay.
Okay, good.
I forgot to mention that too. Venmo, PayPal, they'll have other, and Monica's pretty excited about that because Tyler is just 3 different types of credit card services now, but Invoice Cloud, this is their business, so they're a lot more customer service oriented. And
How fast is the turn on rate after your power gets cut off on the smart meter? If they go online and pay through iCloud, how fast does the meter cut back on?
So we, as soon as the payment's made, it's we who turn it back on. We do that from the office. So
But is it
Invoice
gonna
Cloud, there
notify-
will
About
be
a
a,
Sunday
Is it gonna
morning at
notify?
3:30 in the morning.
oh, so
Kind of
that
what
you
we're
all
talking about. That's what
can
we're
speak to
talking
that. Yeah, Monica has talked to another Tyler city that also has that has gone to Invoice Cloud, and there's a batching that she would have to do. Maybe y'all can explain that better. I know you can than I can.
Yeah. So there's kind of two pieces to this from here. First, the integration, just how the information gets from Invoice Cloud to Tyler and Tyler to Invoice Cloud. That is a batch with an upload that takes a couple minutes each day. I know Monica talked to some folks who are doing that already to understand what that process is like. In terms of when it comes to shutoffs and that sort of thing, any payment made through Invoice Cloud is going to be able to, you have reporting of that in Invoice Cloud as soon as that payment's made. So someone, like Lynn was saying, could go in and see the report in Invoice Cloud, see the payment's been made. We can also notify when payments are made too. And then go and turn someone back on if they were after shut off.
Okay, so they would receive a report. It would not.
Yeah, and
automatically
we do not shut off on the weekend. We don't do that. So there would never be a case where a customer was out of power for the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're happy with it, and Utilities is happy with it. So
We're cautiously optimistic. We have to get the customers to buy into it. It's always up to them to buy in. Right now, we just do paper billing, and we're trying. That was really the origination of this. We send out 4,000 bills every month, paper bills. Tyler, now if you go online, you can see that you have a payment due, but you can't actually view the bill. And I think that's kind of a drawback too. People want to see their bill history online when they go to pay, and they also want to be able to see the rate, the breakdown of the amounts due. And you can't see that with Tyler now. You can just see what your total amount is.
And when they look at the bill, they can actually go ahead and pay it.
Yes.
Right there. Or the
Okay, good.
invoice.
Sounds easy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
Any
no
other
problem. Thank you.
questions?
Appreciate it. Thanks.
We have the resolution, right? Is that number 2026-01? Is that the new one that you gave us? Okay.
So you need to take action on that one.
Right
Okay,
here.
we'll take action separate on 2026-01. And I'm going to have to find that one to read it.
It's the one, they
Oh,
just,
here it is.
yeah.
No, let me read that. Okay, I'll read it by title. This is item 6 on the consent agenda, Resolution 2026-01, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, approving an agreement regarding utility bill payment services between the City of Clewiston and Invoice Cloud, Inc., canceling an agreement with Tyler Technologies, Inc., for utility bill payment services, authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute the agreement, providing for severability, conflict, and an effective date. Any motion?
I'll motion that we approve Resolution 2026-01.
Second.
Okay, motion by Heisler, second by Edmonds. Any further discussion?
Bless
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we also pulled 7, Resolution 2026-02, approving a piggyback agreement with the grinding company. I just had a couple thoughts. I know this was for $70,000, and it is a budgeted item, but just through my walking days recently, I noticed all the grinding, and the guy did a good job, but for $70,000, and I don't know how much we have in for sidewalks already, but I would like to see us, number one, maybe take some of that money and replace some of the sidewalks that the grinding can't help because they're so broken up. Or number two, rent the grinding machine ourselves rent it for a month and put a couple guys on it, and I think we could do it for way less than that.
Well, we did cut it to 50,000 this year. But, I thought they did a pretty good job, but yeah, I agree.
No,
We
they
could do
did a
that.
good job.
Yeah.
That's just a couple of thoughts, because
Sure.
we have a lot of sidewalks that need replacing.
Yep. And we have been doing some in-house.
Yeah. So it's just a consideration. I mean, I'm okay with approving this, but if you could look into maybe
Sure,
renting it, we could
absolutely.
save that money. Okay, so item 7, if there's no further discussion, approve that.
I'm sorry, I'm confused. Are we going with this one, or we're not going with this one?
Yeah, I'm confused.
No, I said we can, I just want Danny to look into doing the grinding ourselves.
And not approve this big vehicle agreement, or?
Well, I guess
Approve it.
we should table it. We don't want to approve it and then
Okay.
not do it, so a motion to table.
Okay, make a motion to table it.
to
Table
it?
number 7, okay,
Yes.
by Edmonds,
I second.
second by Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, is that all we pulled? Okay, next, item 11 is consideration of ordinance 2025-09. It's a second reading for the final adoption, approving amending the Clewiston Code of Ordinance Administration, amending Article 3, purchasing procedures. I'll read it by title. Ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, amending the Clewiston Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration, amending Article 3, Purchasing Procedures, providing for codification, providing for severability, and an effective date. Declare the hearing open. If anyone would like to come and speak from the audience on this ordinance. This mainly has to do with the FMEA.
FMPA, right? Is that
FMPA.
correct,
Yeah,
Lynn?
FMPA.
Purchasing procedures. Seeing no movement, any questions or comments by the commission?
Move that we approve.
Motion by Gardner,
I second.
second by Williams. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, this is resolution, item number 12 is the resolution 2026-04, authorizing the city manager to solicit and receive sealed bids for the sale of the city-owned real property at 725 Central Avenue. I'll read it by title, Resolution 2026-04, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, authorizing the city manager to solicit and receive sealed bids for the sale of the city-owned real property located at 725 Central Avenue, Clewiston, Florida, 33440, with a minimum bid equal to the appraised land value of $113,000 and requiring demolition of the existing building by the purchaser, providing for conflict severability and an effective date. This is the old CPAC building on Central Avenue.
Which has been vacant for at least 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah,
Almost
least.
3 years.
Yeah, we're hoping, it's already been rezoned for basically apartments, and I think we, at one time, realized we could put about 8 duplexes in this area. U.S. Sugar's got some property behind this, and at one time, they were working with a contractor, so we'd like to see that happen again. More places to live, obviously, but what we're looking for.
Yeah, because those rental properties are going fast. New construction especially.
Well, one thing that we learned from the Commerce Park land when we sold it, we didn't really want it to be flipped. We wanted people to buy that property and then build.
Right.
I would like to put that into
I was
this
thinking
motion.
about that too.
No, I
Once
agree.
you
Don't
come
let them
up with-
buy it and let it sit. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Put something on it.
And I don't mean immediately. I would give them 1 year to pull the permit, to turn in plans and pull the permit. I think that'd be plenty of time, and they could even ask for an extension. That way, if whoever buys it, maybe they can also purchase the land behind it, which I'm sure they would figure that out before they bought it, from U.S. Sugar. And then give them a year to pull a permit, because it's going to take a few months to get blueprints drawn up and things like that.
Would
But I'd
that
like
have-
to see it move forward, not sit there for
Right.
10 years and then somebody flips it, and then nothing happens, and it
Right.
gets overgrown. You know the
Absolutely.
whole story.
Does that have to be in the resolution, Derek?
Well, I'm, not that I haven't seen this issue before, but I'm trying to formalize how it would be best to preserve that while preserving the value of the property. Because what will often happen is when property, especially even valuable property, I had a piece of litigation in the city of Hollywood many years ago where they sold a piece right downtown to a major developer. Economy changes, something changes, goes away, you get into litigation, the property sits there, you're basically, you're not doing anything. In a sense, you're giving a zero interest loan on a piece of property for them to go out and take that security and try to negotiate a deal. So some of the ways that this could be done could be a resale clause. So if there's resale, you get a percentage of the value on that resale. Another way would be a convertible land lease. So if the city was to lease the property out for our long term, that's convertible to title after construction, that might be another option. So if the lease was sufficiently long, that the property they could go and get lending, and they could build on it. And if you meet these timelines, the lease converts to title. There's a couple different options on there. So what I would say is we would put a condition, the condition as you discussed, we put that in the bid specifications, and then we'll figure out how best to serve that goal when we get the responses back. Because I think if you're too onerous up front, what'll happen is people will discount the price that they're putting in, and you're trying to get the maximum value for the city as well. So they'll say, if I have to build within a year, or there's penalties on me, I'm going to discount the price closer to the appraised value. And right now, we're trying to get the price up from the beginning. So
does the resolution have to have that information, or?
We'll add a
we hold
condition in there that
condition?
they'd like to see a plan for development in the bid. A year, depending on the product, someone might come in and have a multi-story product, which would be better, or may add more housing, but would take longer than a year to permit. So I would say let them pitch the development plan, and then in approving the ultimate bidder, that's when you put the conditions in place that are appropriate to that development.
Okay, so
You can just make that in the motion. We'll make the changes to the resolution or anything else after the fact.
So if I'm understanding, with the condition of a building plan being submitted with the bid?
No, a proposal for development.
A proposal for development. And time frame? Or no?
What we'll do is we'll put in the backup information for the bid that the intention is to have the property developed within the near term, say permitted and developed within a 2-year window, with a preference for housing. But if you say you submit the proposal, maybe you'll get something better. And so I kind of leave it as open as possible to get as many bids as possible. There might be someone might come in with a mixed-use proposal, something that you weren't thinking of at this moment. So I'll make sure that gets in there.
Okay, so a motion with those changes offered by the attorney.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 2026-04 with a recommendation from the city attorney to include that a proposal for development is included with the bid.
Motion by Gardner, second by Highslope. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 13 on the agenda is consideration of ordinance 2026-01, amending Chapter 62 of the Clewiston Code of Ordinance, Public Parks. I'll read that by title. This is an ordinance 2026-01, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, amending the Clewiston Code of Ordinance, Chapter 62, Streets, Sidewalks, and Certain Public Places, amending Article 4, Public Parks, providing for codification, severability, and an effective date. This is a ordinance, so this is a public hearing. I declare the public hearing open. If anyone from the audience would like to speak on this matter. I know there was a rec board meeting recently. I don't know, and I think you guys discussed it. I know there were some rec board people out there. They might have gone home.
Yeah, Jeannie.
Jeannie was there.
Yes, I was here. So yes, the 5 board members are right now still trying to finalize pricing for that, but yes, they are in agreements for that to happen. We're waiting to get actual numbers, everyone to talk through it. But at this point, they're all on board. Yes, we're not trying to make any decisions right away. It's just a fact of getting an ordinance in place for fees in general, which would be for anything, not just parks related. It's also to our facilities. So it goes for their facilities as well.
They're gonna look at the John Boy rental fees and everything.
Everything, according to
Looking
the
at other
attorney when she
cities and
created it, that's what she
compares-
said.
They're looking at other cities to compare.
I
whatever-
mean, not so much that we have to change them, it's just an ordinance to say we're having fees. You have to have.
Yeah, so this very simple change will allow, it'll allow you to set fees for rentals, special events, anything like that by resolution. So what you can do is every year when you do your budget, Randy can adjust the resolution that gets adopted with the budget to say, we're going to increase the fees for this facility, we're going to increase the fees for that facility, we're going to add a provision for cleanup in this facility rental. That just gives you the ability to add those fees so that there's no question where the authority comes from.
Okay.
So I think I was reading in there that you also put in there that the time that the parks will be open is in this ordinance.
Sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, sunrise to sunset. It's trespassing if you go into the park, but we already have that ordinance that we did several months ago because of homeless people. So it's okay to
I would,
reiterate?
yeah, I think it's fine to reiterate. The only question, and Kaylee and I had a little conversation about it, if there's ever a point, we can exclude issues with special events, if there's a special event for some reason in the park, but if at any point in the future you decide to have certain parks that may have night lighting facilities that you want to keep open for different times and you want to add specific times or parameters around that, a lot of cities will often have a provision saying, sunset to sunset unless there's, pickleball with lighting, then as long as the lighting is on, something like that. So, but we can deal with that when those changes come forward.
Anyone from the audience? Yes, Kevin?
A couple of things, like he mentioned pickleball, so you don't exclude the current pickleball courts and tennis courts in this ordinance. So I think if you're going to pass the ordinance, you should exclude those parks because they are lit and there are people at night and they're just general use. It's not Sugarland Park, you have leagues that use that in the evenings, not unauthorized people, so you would lock up Sugarland Park at night, but the tennis courts are unlocked and this ordinance doesn't give individuals, I say individuals, the city manager is the way I read it, and I just read it tonight just a minute ago because I didn't have access to the agenda, but I don't see any authority in this ordinance for you'd have to shut down. The way the ordinance is written, I think you're going to have to shut down the tennis courts tonight or tomorrow.
Would the preference be, the chief's point, would the preference be to say lighted and where signed, it's still open? We'll just add that, we'll add those two provisions to this section and be done.
Or can you not just, or otherwise permitted?
I think otherwise permitted becomes a questionable situation. So I would say if you want to say that we could add a provision for an authorized by an event or signage, on-park signage, something like that, because then we could just put signs up for each park, unless otherwise. You know what? I think that's fine. Otherwise permitted.
Well, I mean, we
know
can
how to
table
do
it
it.
and
We
look
can
at
figure
it
it
next month. This isn't an emergency. That might even give your board time to come up with the fees.
Well, that will come by resolution anyway, and just for purposes of not having to re-advertise or do anything with the hearing, if you just give us direction, we'll add that otherwise permitted.
Okay, well, yeah, I think the direction is to make sure we can play tennis and do those things that we normally do with our Little League and soccer league.
Lighted fields,
at
city
night.
lighted fields or facilities.
But I do understand what you're saying. In general, the parks are closed at sunset. unless, blah, 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 and you're gonna put that in there.
Yeah, we'll add that to that line.
I have one other question unrelated, and it ties back to a question I raised at the rec board 3 months ago. I haven't found it in any of your resolutions, but the AYSO was charged for the paint for painting, lining the fields this year. Was that authority given to anybody by the commission, or should that not have been charged, is my guess, is my question, because I haven't been able to find that authority anywhere to staff for them to be charged painting of the fields.
Never heard that we charged anyone for painting. Is that gonna, did they discuss painting fees in the rental of the facilities?
Painting the
Painting of the
fields.
fields has been done before AYSO, so they were, high school get charged for it. Cougar football, when we lined the field, they got charged for it. So everyone's been getting charged for it. It's not so saying, and the authority came before me, like I mentioned before. All I can say, I mean.
You were just following what was done before.
Absolutely. And at the last meeting, you did say, in December anyways, yeah, we're in January. December, you did say keep charging for the paint, so I'm charging for the paint.
Thanks, Gina.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we charged Little League also.
Just for clarification, AYSO was not, my son was in charge of AYSO last year. AYSO was not billed last year for painting the fields. So I don't disagree with Cougars and possibly others, but I know that AYSO for a fact was not charged for painting fields last year, and they were this year. So
So maybe they mistakenly weren't last year.
maybe not, but he was in charge for the last 5 years, and prior to that, Scott Jones was 10 years prior to that, and 15 years prior to that I was. So this was the first year AYSO has ever been charged for painting. So that's the clarification that
But
I just wanted to
everyone
make.
else is charged for paint? Okay.
Okay, well, when you do bring the fee structure, which we have to approve anyway, let's include the painting fee.
Painting the fields.
Yeah, painting the fields, and if you're just renting the field, does that include the stripes on the field? You know, what does that include when you rent a field? And obviously, we'll have to break out Little League and AYSO, different from a league from Belglade that wants to come over. So, I know you guys are working on that, and it might take, a couple meetings, and that's fine.
And we appreciate the rec board looking at all these issues. And, I know that it's always been about partnership with nonprofits and working with them, as well as covering some of the cost. And I know that we did, I'm going to bring it up again, $1 a month to help with a recreation fund. And I know that through the years, that $1 a month, a lot of people aren't paying it. And, I think $1, $2, whatever somebody can put in on the utility bill to go towards that, I think it helps all the nonprofits because the city helps to cover some of the costs. So I think we need to do maybe the rec board, if you can talk to them about maybe doing a push for that volunteer recreation fund every month. So.
Okay, anyone else from the public? All right, commissioners, any questions or comments on ordinance 2026-01?
I'll motion that we approve 2026-01 with
With
the
the
amended
changes.
language. Second.
Okay, motion by Hoslope, second by Edmonds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is item 14, 2026-02, amending Chapter 110 of the City Code of Ordinance, Article 5, Districts and District Regulations to reduce the side setback requirements for accessory structures in R1B and R1C residential zoning districts. This is ordinance 26-02 by title, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Clewiston, Florida, amending the Clewiston Code of Ordinance, Chapter 110 zoning, amending Article 5 districts and districts regulations, providing for codification, severability, and an effective date. This is an ordinance, so it is a public hearing, and we'll open that for anyone from the audience if you'd like to come up and speak. Concerning this ordinance, reducing from 7.5 feet to 5 feet the side setback in those two zoning districts. Seeing no movement, anyone from the commission?
Make a motion that we approve ordinance number 2026-02.
I second that.
Motion by Gardner, second by Williams. Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Tommy can build his shed.
But not,
Yep, we got more than one reading, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you get ready. You can pour the concrete, get the permit. Okay, we'll move on to staff comments. City manager?
I don't have anything tonight, Mayor.
All right, city attorney?
No, I'm glad that the shed debacle of 2025 is on its way to resolution. And you're not alone. Many governments are moving their setback requirements for these sheds in the backyards. I mean, it's a
Okay, any staff? Jeannie or Lynn or Randy? Okay,
Randy, you've been real quiet.
he's hiding back there.
okay, commission comments, Commissioner Williams?
We already had Josh in here from the Fair Board, just, February 6th. It's gonna be a long one this time. Just make sure, community support gets out and supports the fair and all that they do, because they are a small group, so they do need help from everybody in the city. As well, July 11th, 3v3 is back. 3v3 Live, we're set for July 11th. Mark it on your calendars. And I have been in talks with a couple of Babe Ruth, summer travel organizations. They are interested in coming down and maybe using our complex for a Saturday, Sunday tournament. And it would be beneficial to us, monetary wise. We would do that. So as soon as they confirm with me, I'll get back with you guys. But they're just, I'm just kicking the cans right now, trying to get it rolling. So hopefully we can get something to come for, other than soccer, we can move on and do baseball as well.
That's good.
Okay, Commissioner Edmonds?
Thank you to our firemen and congratulations to the guys that got their awards tonight. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, we had a really fun day today with our newest restaurant in town opening up. Culver's opened up. And I know that, Danny, you've been working on this project for 18 months?
Yeah, at least.
At least, yeah, to try to make it to happen. And what we saw today, was truly exciting because of the hard work that city staff has done to get this, to get it to happen. The other thing that also is that, for the past 3 weeks, it seems like we've had loads of fishing tournaments. And when you go up to the lake, all the boats that are there, and just the movement that's in town that comes from these fishing tournaments is immense. Especially, I think this past weekend, the first place prize or the payout was $100,000, and that's just a smaller tournament. And I think another one's gearing up. And so, again, Lake Okeechobee is, for us as a fishing and farming town, is critical for our well-being. And I just am so glad that these, folks are here and investing in our town and fishing. So I think it's wonderful. So I think that, 2026, we're off to a good start with economic activity. And I know that there's more things that are happening. And so I pray that it's going to be a prosperous year for our community, for our residents, and especially for the city employees, that they see what the works of their labor and their hands, and that it does make a difference. So I wanted to thank the city employees, our volunteer fire department, what we heard tonight, and the work that's always being done behind the scenes that we'll never see, and the wrecks that you guys have to go to, and the things that you have to see that we'll never be a part of. But certainly those families and folks that are impacted by your hands, I know that it makes us a better community for it. So thank you for that.
Vice Mayor Heisler?
I do not have much to add that hasn't been covered.
Right, good. Yeah, I did what you guys have said about the fire department and the culvers and things moving forward with some of our property along the highway, so that's really good. Just we asked at the last meeting, or maybe it was the workshop, just to do some comparisons on our health insurance from last year to this year. I don't know if we had a chance, Danny, if you had a chance to get with any staff, just to see, you know, the increase and if we can do something. I probably can't do anything about it this year in this session, but in this budget year, but would like that to be looked at very carefully. And also with Gloria coming tonight with the standard, I'd like to also get a report from the company where we move the other retirement accounts to. I'd like them to do a presentation since we never got that opportunity, just to see where they're at. Of course, they haven't had it a year yet, so we don't really know, but maybe they can give us a monthly update on the percentages that, and where we are with the actuarials in those accounts. Yes. Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Sorry for the last minute, but those are a little different just because they're not defined benefit. Each employee directs those, so if you see one account might only have a 2% gain, it's going to be because of the investments that they choose themselves. So we can still do the presentation, but they don't have control over the returns like the benefit plan does, because each individual employee directs their own accounts with the defined contribution plans. And defined contribution meaning, you know, we're putting in a set amount, but the benefit isn't secure, and that's the difference between the frozen benefit plan versus the contribution plan. So we can definitely have them here, but for them to speak on a rate of return, it just depends on what the individual's investing in. A large cap thing versus a bond fund, you know.
Basically, like in the private sector, it's a 401k.
Sure, it's essentially
All
the
right.
same thing, and that's the major difference. So it's hard for them to do the comparison of rates of return, but they can do the comparison of the percentages that they take out as an admin fee or a consulting fee, and that's
Right.
where they gain at, and that's where we made our advantages with those. But yeah, we can get them scheduled. But I just wanted to at least let you know that part, that it's more a conversation of costs versus returns when we're speaking about those plans.
But they still know the returns, even though they're.
Oh, sure,
the
sure, but
employees.
it's just gonna, the warning is that it will vary just based on the individual.
Oh, yeah,
putting in
absolutely.
their stuff.
And there's no actuarials for us. The city doesn't pay any
Correct.
for the defined
There's not any
benefit
type of
plan.
actuarial
Okay.
because there's no defined benefit at the end of it. It's just self-directed. So that's all I was gonna say
Okay,
with that.
no problem, thank you. Okay, that's all I
Oh,
have.
can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Just the CPAC next door is going to be having a fundraiser on Friday night at the Methodist Church, and this helps them with just a lot of things that they do over there, and they've done a lot of work. So if anybody can make it to the Methodist Church on Friday night, I think it's starting at 5 o'clock, to help support the CPAC, that would be great. I just saw her email from earlier today, so. Spaghetti, yes, spaghetti dinner, and I think it's $15, and it's got a lot of extras to go with it.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right,
Good job.
thank you, everyone.